Hey guys, welcome to the video, and today I'm basically going to give a critique of Season of the Worthy so far, and how Bungie has done some good things, but also how they have dropped the ball in a lot of other aspects. And I think this season is entirely open for criticism, because it is pretty lacking so far. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Day 1 experience. So Day 1, we had the EDZ bunker open up, and that was actually pretty interesting. We got to get used to clearing out the bunker, and we got a little bit of info about Rasputin, and that was basically it. We got access to the bounties, which is a whole nother topic we'll get into, and then we also got introduced to the weapons that we'd be getting, which there aren't that many of them. There are only 4 that we can get from these bunkers and 2 from the season pass, and then also Trials weapons, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So these new weapons, when you look on something like Light GG, they don't seem to have that good of damage perks. Or, not that they don't have good damage perks, but they can't roll with a reload and a damage perk at the same time. And usually when people think of god rolls in Destiny, they usually contain both of those perks, reload and a damage perk. So automatically people sort of wrote them off as not that good or kind of useless weapons. Which they kind of are, if you don't pair them with the seasonal mod, which drops a Warmind cell, which is basically, it looks like a reddish orange orb on the ground. And when you shoot it, it basically can do a number of things based on how you spec for it. You can either make it suppress enemies, or you can make it explode, doing a bunch of damage. Which, to be fair, it actually does have a pretty big radius whenever you put a mod like Global Reach on it. So overall, I think that was actually a pretty good addition. However, that was not explained whatsoever by Bungie, how these mods work. I think they could have done a live stream probably to explain it, like they have done with previous seasons. Another thing about the Day 1 experience is that people will usually go to the tower. This is sort of what people would do, usually every season. Go to the tower, pick up the quest for the ritual weapons so they could at least see, what they are, sort of get working on them. But that's one of the first things I did when I got to the tower. However, once you go to the tower, and you may have heard this by now, there are no pinnacle or ritual weapons for this season. Which, Bungie gave no explanation on this, and still have not yet. But DMG, the community manager, has provided some bit of information on Reddit, which has not gone over that well, to be honest. In this Reddit post, he responds to a person saying, "I wonder when that future TWAB discussing weapon perk pools and lack of ritual weapons will be." So he responded, quote, "Hey all, we are aware of the strong desire from players for pursuit weapons to return for Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit. Speaking with the team, they are candidates for future weapon allocation in a future season. No, we can't make any promises yet. It's a tricky balancing act, as pursuit weapons could come at the cost of general rewards allocated for alternate activities, legendary weapons and trials as an example. We'll be sure to let you know our future plans when we have more information." So basically what they are saying is that we will have to choose as a community what we want, either ritual weapons or new trials weapons, and I will reserve my opinions on that for a little bit later in the video when I get to more of the rant section, but let's continue on. So let's actually go next to trials weapons. So trials came out the Friday of the week that Season of the Worthy launched, and they had it on Burning Shrine, which I think was nice because it was also the first map in Destiny 1 that Trials was on. Now, if we're talking about Trials itself, I think it's cool that Saint 14 is a vendor in the tower, and I really think that what they did to change the passage was good. In case you don't know, there are 5 different passages that you can get, which basically take all the boons that you could get from Destiny 1 and put them on different passages, which allow for very much different risk-reward gameplay, which I think is very cool. So after you pick up one of these passages, and then he also has bounties that reward trials tokens, which is now the new way you're going to be getting a lot of your rewards. Then you hop into trials, which is 3v3, competitive PvP, which is what it was in Destiny 1. Basically nothing has changed gameplay wise, which I think is good because I really like the way trials plays out in D1 and also returning in D2. And the reward system works like this. You get a reward every 3 wins, every 5 wins, and every 7 wins. And once you get 7 wins and 0 losses, or you get 1 loss with the Mercy, which sort of takes away that loss, then you will be granted access to the Lighthouse, which is a place that was in Destiny 1 but has sort of been retooled in Destiny 2 as a different area in space. but basically is the exact same concept. An area where only the people that go flawless can enter. Now, upon going to the lighthouse, you will get another piece of gear that is represented to drop that week, which, in case you didn't know, only 4 different items can drop that week, from 3, 5, 7 wins, and from the lighthouse. Which is interesting. Upon the lighthouse, you get a special emblem, which when you put it on, it changes the glow of your armor and weapons. I think this is cool, except for the fact that it is only temporary. It is not a permanent, different, shade or glow. Which I think they kind of messed up on that, but anyways. The one thing that people have been angry about, most of all with Flawless Loot, is that there are no adept weapons. Now, in case you did not play Destiny 1, adept weapons were Trials weapons, except for they had a different look, usually instead of their inverted colors, so usually where the black and gold would be, it would be gold and black, or gold and white. It would actually be really interesting. And also, they had a special perk on them, like Last Resort or Snapshot, which really made them interesting and really made them sought after. Also, now Armor does not have the Trials, like, flawless ornaments that we saw in, like, Rise of Iron for Destiny 1. Which, in case you forgot about that, basically, in Rise of Iron, the armor looked really nice, especially with the flawless ornaments had, like, a holographic feel to them. I really wish they would have brought something like that back, sort of like they did, even with Trials of the 9, they sort of had that, but anyways, that is about all the rewards you can get for Trials. You can actually get 3 different emblems. One you get from 3 wins, one I believe you go for getting 7 wins, and the one you get from 3 wins changes, like, it sort of makes like a golden glow on your stuff. The one you get from 7 wins makes a sort of white glow on your stuff, which is supposed to represent the actual emblem, how many times you've carried other people to the lighthouse. And the one you get from Flawless is supposed to represent how many people you have shut out from getting to the lighthouse. So, like, when they're on their last win to go to the lighthouse and you defeated their team. And the glow on that set is red, which I think looks really nice. So there have been some definitely some good things about Trials, such as the gameplay and the overall feel of it. And I think very few cheaters have been found compared to what people thought it was going to be like, so that's an overall improvement, I think. However, the lack of sort of reason to go, like, there's no special ornaments that do anything besides change the lighting of your stuff, and no adept weapons really kills the incentive to go after going for a flawless passage every single week. Which I think is kind of a shame, because I think people were expecting adept weapons or sort of armor, really cool armor ornaments, but nevertheless, I think Trials is overall still a good addition to the game. However, if we have to sacrifice getting Trials weapons to get ritual weapons, or we have to sacrifice ritual weapons to keep getting Trials weapons, I think that is a mistake. And here's where I'm sort of getting into the rant portion of the video. So they say that they cannot make different pinnacle or ritual weapons because it's too taxing on the team. Yet every time you look at the Ever Restore, it is fully stocked with new items every single season, hundreds of dollars without fail. It seems most of their crew is actually just working on Eververse items at this point, and little on gameplay. This season so far, and also if you look at the roadmap, looks very barren compared to all the other seasons that came before, even Season of the Dawn, which was really content, like, pretty light on content last season. And I mean, this is just kind of really disappointing. There's almost no reason to grind for stuff, and don't mention that the basically Endgame isn't coming until April, which is Grandmaster Nightfalls, which is a whole nother thing in itself, because it seems like just arbitrary difficulty just added on with no extra rewards, just a higher chance at exotic and materials, which I don't think will be worth it at all. I think people will still run Master Nightfall stuff more for those materials. Another thing I forgot to mention about Trials, you can get those materials from the Lighthouse chest, which I think is a really good change. And also you can go to the Lighthouse from going Flawless as many times as you want on any of your characters. You just won't get the pinnacle rewards that you get from going Flawless. You'll just get the weapons and the armor. So anyways, back to the different endgame. Then there's also Legendary Lost Sectors, which basically just seem to give armor and some Warmind bits for upgrading your bunker, but no exclusive weapons or perks on the weapons or anything really. It's just really kind of disappointing. Really the only new perk that we've gotten is Celerity, which only comes on the Trials weapons. And I mean, it's pretty good, but I mean, it's very, very situational. And I don't see why they couldn't have just put that as a intrinsic perk on adept weapons. So I really don't see their reasoning behind that. It's really kind of odd that they wouldn't even talk about that kind of stuff. So in the coming weeks, we are supposed to get different bunkers. I think next week is supposed to be the moon bunker. And then, we'll eventually unlock the IO bunker. And with that will come new upgrades or whatever. But that's kind of it for the season besides Grandmaster Nightfalls. And then maybe an event like Guardian Games. The season is really, really content dry. Which may be preparing for the next season. I highly doubt it. Maybe preparing for the next big expansion in, October or whenever, sort of the later year for 2020. Or maybe even on Destiny 3, but who knows when that's going to come out, or even if that is a thing. So overall, what I think they should do is probably focus way more on giving people what they want and, just adding more content to the game and stop focusing on Eververse. Because even though people may think of Bungie like, oh, they've separated from Activision, so now, they need all the money they can get, they still make a ton of money. And I almost guarantee if they put more content in the game, people will feel more inclined to, spend money. And all the ornaments that you can get in the Eververse store, just like set aside a few of them just to earn from gameplay. Like maybe a quest or something, or even like getting a certain amount of weapon, you can get the skin. That would be a much better way to do it. Overall, I'd say this season is kind of lackluster and kind of disappointing. No real incentive to keep going. It's lost a lot of people, especially since a lot of the even more casual people, they don't really care that much about trials because they won't really commit the time to, gear up and everything. But something that they could have ran for and, grinded for was those ritual weapons. But now they just completely nixed that entire idea for some reason that they don't even give an answer on. Which I think is really disappointing. And I think Bungie can do better in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. That's it for this video. I think that I rambled on long enough, but hopefully you guys see my points, and let's have a discussion about that in the comments. You can give me some feedback about what you think, and I'll try and see from your guys' side, but overall I'm just kinda... there's really a lack of incentive for the season to do that much, but I mean, tell me what you guys think about it. If you guys like it, tell me why, and that's about it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. I definitely would like some new subscribers and some new viewers, so then hopefully I can engage more with the community, so that would be awesome. And I'll see you guys later. Have a nice day.